Okay, the focus for this video is to shed some light on sets, reps, and intensity while lifting. This can be super confusing, and I find clients often take quite a while to really grasp this concept themselves. So to make sure that this isn't an issue for you and you feel confident coming into the gym, let's tackle it. So we always want to have a plan in place when we're coming in. A great place to start is 12 repetitions. So 12 repetitions, but how many times should I do 12 repetitions? The minimum is going to be twice. That would make 2 sets. Do 12 reps, rest, do 12 reps, that's 2 sets. If I did it a third time after an adequate rest, that would be 3 sets. So I say 12 because at 12 reps, your weight will be relatively light. Now, it might be difficult to you, but that's totally fine. We're looking to find the right weight to get to 12 repetitions. I bet you're figuring out what I mean now. So later on when I'm stronger, I, as your personal trainer, or you, if you're going about this on your own, are going to look to now lift heavier. But we're not going to get the same reps out of a heavier weight. If I pick up a heavier weight than I did the last time, I'm going to get less repetitions out of it. If I'm getting more, then obviously the last weight wasn't a genuine 12 repetition weight. So that brings me a little bit into intensity, because you should be starting out at a 12 rep intensity. There are probably arguments about this online, you know, it should be 10, it should be 12, so on. But it's a safe place to start. 3 sets, 12 repetitions. So you should be repeating this week in and week out. The idea is to not have much left in the tank after you do those 12 repetitions. So I like to call it reps in reserve. That's what it's well known as well. So that means when I get to that 12th rep, it's probably quite hard. It should be quite hard to get that rep. You're in need of a rest at this point. So what we're saying there is the amount of reps you have in reserve are limited. Maybe you could struggle to get 1 more. Maybe you could get 2 done. But you should not be able to get more than 2 or possibly 3 decent repetitions. If you could, then that is not a genuine 12 rep weight. See what I mean? So that is the thing that clients struggle with. They don't realize they need to be self-assessing for every exercise, because for every exercise you might need a different weight. We've got bigger muscles for doing a squat, lots of muscles working together, whereas when we're doing something like a lateral raise, a front raise, we've got small muscles participating, and you're going to be very tired very quickly, especially if you're using the weight that you would normally suit to a squat. So stay with me. 12 reps to start, 3 sets. Now what's probably going to stay the same or just go up would be your sets. Your sets, as you get more comfortable, for your bigger movements will either stay at 3, or maybe later you do 4 sets of those. Maybe you're feeling like you got extra energy. But those reps should be coming down, because as you continue to lift that weight 12 times week in and week out, you're going to see when you're self-assessing throughout those reps, my God, I think I could do 6 more. When you're at the 10th rep and you start to think, oh my God, I could do 3, 4, 5 more. That's how you know you're ready for more weight. So that is when you're going to come back in the next time and maybe opt for a slightly heavier weight and start that process all over again and find out how many times can I do this properly. So I think you're kind of getting this. So that's how you slowly progress. But of course, you're going to forget these things. We're busy. So you need to keep some kind of record. Now, if you're working with a trainer like myself, we're going to be recording those weights when we're with you, or you will be using an app to just quickly pop in the reps and sets, or maybe you're old school. You'll see it in the gyms. People are there with their notebooks and they're writing stuff in. So it is important to track those weights, because how are you going to remember? You have a lot of other things on your plate. So that first process can be a little bit slow and annoying, because you're trying to figure out the weight. But when you keep coming for a couple of weeks, you're going to know. But if you take away anything from this video, I want you to take away that when you are lifting weights for any exercise, outside of focusing on your form and your technique and breathing, you're assessing how many more could I do? How many more have I done? Questioning that. And I say that because not every day are you going to be as strong as the day before or the day tomorrow. There's a lot of things to consider. Stress in your life, nutrition, hydration, sleep. And if you're a woman, where you are in your menstrual cycle. These are all things that are going to affect that. So take that into account. Now, when we're looking at intensity, it is another great way to assess the situation. If you were working with me or a good trainer, they would be asking you quite regularly, hey, how hard does this feel? A good reference is out of 10. Okay, so how hard does this exercise feel out of 10? Some exercises are going to feel like a 2 or 3. They're ones where we're maybe doing mobility and stability. Think stretching. That's going to be quite easy. Although you might feel a lot, it's not exhaustive. 10 out of 10 is like, I'm sprinting, I can't keep this up, this is the hardest thing, I need to stop. 6 out of 10 is a wonderful place to be when you're lifting weights. So 6 out of 10, difficulty, intensity. It's also something you can use for cardio. How hard is this? If you're working with a trainer, they're going to be suggesting you work at a certain intensity. If they say to you, oh, this actually feels like an 8 out of 10, then that's good information to us that today it's a little too much for what we're trying to achieve, or maybe today in the way that you've turned up, the capacity you have available is a little bit less and we need to pull back. So these are awesome. So self-assessment throughout is really, really important. So intensity out of 10, self-assessing, and always asking yourself per exercise, how many more of these could I do? Sometimes you're going to be wrong, and that's the cool thing. You're going to think to yourself, oh my God, I've only got 2 left in me. This is so hard. And then you get towards that 12th rep and you're like, oh my God, actually, I can do a few more. So you may overestimate yourself, you may underestimate yourself. This may be where you're strong or weak. Upper body, you might be stronger, so you might have more strength. Lower body might be your weak spot. You might surprise yourself thinking you could do more than you can do. So enjoy finding that out. That process is wonderful, but it can be a little bit stressful if you don't know how. And these are small things that are going to get in the way of you feeling comfortable and turning up. So don't let them get in the way. Take this information, get into a gym, pick things up 12 times, rest for no more than a minute unless you're feeling woozy, and get back into it again 12 times 3. Take note of the weight you're lifting, do a couple exercises, and go from there. It is simple, but always assess that intensity and have a little bit of fun with it. All right, I hope this helped.